मुंडिया तो बच के रही नी तू हुणे हुणे होई मुटियार मुंडिया तो बच के रही नी तू हुणे हुणे होई मुटियार मुंडिया तो बच के रही
Alors, je vais vous présenter le professeur Khanna. C'est un long CV, mais c'est un CV bien garni. Alors, c'est un immense privilège de vous présenter le conférencier principal du Sommeref, le professeur Khanna, l'une des figures les plus respectées et influentes de la médecine esthétique, de l'esthétique régénérative à l'échelle mondiale. Lauréat de nombreuses distinctions internationales, il est largement salué pour ses contributions remarquables à l'évolution de la médecine esthétique. À travers son institut de formation et ses masterclass internationales, il a formé des milliers de praticiens. Conférencier très recherché, je peux vous le prouver. Je l'ai pratiquement supplié pour qu'il vienne. D'accord? Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez accueillir chaleureusement le professeur Khanna. Il l'a déjà fait, il a dansé, voilà. Voilà, je vais le laisser maintenant vous faire sa présentation parce qu'il peut passer de DJ à danseur à orateur. You sing, you dance, you teach.
And I love. J'adore. Thank you. Shall we go? We start?
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, how are you feeling? Casablanca, Morocco, are we good? Fantastic. Right, I have got 45 minutes with you guys, and I love Morocco. You know why? It's like India. It's like parts of Italy, not the north of Italy, don't worry. The southern Italy, Spain, Morocco, India. We love to eat, we love to drink, we love to dance, we love to love, but our timing is terrible. Yes? But it's okay. When you're in Morocco, you have to be like the Moroccans, right? So consider me one of you guys. I'm one of you guys today. Is that okay? Fantastic. I didn't hear that. Say that again. Thank you. Right. Okay.
On va demander des excuses au professeur Adeli, qui est très ponctuel, qui n'aime pas le retard. C'est le Maroc, professeur Adeli. C'est le soleil, c'est le Maroc. C'est les Marocains.
Okay, right. Unfortunately, my French is not very good, but whatever she said, I hope it was good. Was it good? No good? No good? Very good? Okay, you can try. Listen, I have been in the industry for 30 years, right? And it's been an interesting journey. I've learned a lot of things. I've learned, importantly, when you're doing any form of medicine, aesthetic medicine, any type of treatment, it's not just about what to do. It's about what not to do, okay? And you have to question everything that you do. And it would be a pleasure to see you in my institute, to come and have some coffee. It won't be Moroccan coffee, it'll be Italian coffee. But you know what? You're all welcome to come and see me, just to say hello. If you want to learn, you can come and learn as well. I've been teaching, it's been my passion, like I said, for over 30 years. So I love it. I love to teach, I love to inspire, I love to give people knowledge. And I love it when this thing works as well, when it's not working. So we will go back to basics. Here we go. We'll make it work, don't worry. So let's, there you go, it's a little bit slow. Right, what does it say? Why settle for average when your patients don't? Who in this room likes average, which is medium? Medium, okay? No? No, we don't like. You like Massimo? You don't like average. I know this guy. We were in the gym together. He doesn't do average. He wants to aim here. Are we all in the same boat? Yes? We all want to aim high. Okay, good. That's good. This thing is not working, my friend. I'll try it again. This is average. Try it. I'll go old-fashioned. Right. Aesthetics and aging. We are all aging, guys. We all age. Every single one of us is aging. No matter how beautiful you are to start with. We have some very beautiful people here. Very handsome people. But unfortunately, it's going to happen to all of us. We're going to age. Now these are the people that you... These are the people that we look at on a daily basis and we admire them. Yet, despite all the money in the world, they're still aging. And despite all the procedures, they're still aging. So we need to be honest with ourselves as to what is happening and what is the true essence of aging. What is the true essence? Now, I started facial aesthetics in 1996. Please, do not laugh at this photograph. I was a baby. This is my first son, Paris. I was a baby. And like all of you, I've also aged. So now you can see at the age of 56, you know, my face has aged, of course. But thankfully, like Massimo, we keep our muscles, huh? And this is very important when we talk about the aging process because it's not one thing. We have to understand the bigger picture. I wish I could go back to this time, but unfortunately we can't. Now, many of us are doing some wonderful lips. Yesterday you saw me dealing with quite a challenging case. This is even more challenging. This is M-shaped lips. Very difficult case. If anyone does this type of treatment, you know how difficult this is going to be. And really, you have to do this in 2 stages, not 1. Don't try and be a hero for 1 day. Okay? Try and be a hero for the lifetime of the patient. All right? Never think just for 1 day. You do it over 6 sessions. And over 2 sessions, we can get a beautiful result. In a very difficult case, we can get this. And we do this lovely, lovely stuff. And then, of course, we do full face transformations. When we take this doctor, 30% of my patients are doctors in the industry. She says to me, I'm looking tired, I'm looking old. And I say, how old are you? She says, 30. I said, 30? Who's 30 in this group? Who is 30? You're not old, trust me. Okay? Well, you're not old. Even Professor Rodelli is not old. All right? At 30, you're not old. But she feels old. And we have to understand, what does it take to look old? What makes you look old? Look at her mid-face. Look at the sad corners of her mouth. Look at the disproportionate lips. So when we do this kind of transformation, it will make people look younger. It will make them feel better. And this is very, very important. This is a model. Who was in Tunisia? Right, you remember this model I treated? This was a very difficult case. They give me the worst cases. They said, Professor Khanna, she's on Ozempic. We need you to fix her temporal hollows, her supraorbital hollows, tear trough sulcus, mid-cheek volume, nasolabial sulcus, lower lip volume loss, labial maltal sulcus, prejowl sulcus, and under the chin. I said, how long do I have? They said 30 minutes. And I said, are you kidding me? I'm not Superman. What? We had a little time, and then we also took the fat underneath her chin. Do you remember? Using a very special machine. And this was the result afterwards. Straight away, straight away. This was straight away, and if you have a look, straight away. Now, I love this result, but let me tell you something. It's going to get better. There's a reason why it's going to get better, because not only am I working on giving someone the instant now, I'm thinking about the biology. I'm thinking about regeneration of tissue, all right? And I know people don't like this word, but at the end of the day, you are revitalizing the tissue. And if you use the right materials, you can do this. Now, if we have a look at, Sonia said to me, she said, I want you to share my case. I said, okay, are you sure, darling? She said, yes. And we all have treatment. I'm sure you have treatment. You know what? I'm the only guy who doesn't have treatment. I only have a little bit of Botox, but I don't trust anyone. I have trust issues. And I think my face is the kind of face, if I have too much, even a little bit of treatment, I think I will look feminine. So for me, I'm not touching my face right now. But maybe in 10 years, one of you can come and do my treatment. So with Sonia, and she doesn't mind me saying, she's 55 years of age. She lacks definition of a jawline. She has submental ptosis here, which is normal. If you drag anyone over the age of 50, all right, if you haven't had any treatment, I'm expecting to see this. I'm expecting to see it, right? It's normal. My patients come to me all the time, even at 35. Please, Habibi, like this. Okay, so what am I going to do about this? If she's not going to have surgery, what are we going to do? Well, I have to retract the tissue somehow. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to use non-surgical means. And in this case, I used endo-RF in conjunction with very powerful threads. Now, some people don't like threads. Let me tell you, the people who don't like threads are not doing it properly. Because the key is anchorage. If you have anchorage and vectorization under your control, you will get beautiful results that last. It's not the thread. Now, this is before treatment, and I'll show you, this is her now, okay? But the true magic is when we see her from the side. When I do the retraction and no fillers, this is without any filler, no facial sculpting. The next step is to do the facial sculpting with special types of filler. Because like all the ladies in the room, she wants a beautiful jawline. Okay? So we get it to here by retraction of the tissue. Why did I say that? Because so many people I know would jump on this case and they would put so much filler in, it's never going to work. Trust me. It never works. You're just going to create a bigger looking face. So you have to be realistic. You have to pull the tissue back somehow. You have to. And then you can do your magic with your treatment. Do we have the click, by the way? The clicker gone? And you can see. Come. You okay? And you can see here where I've crafted her jawline now. And you can see it. Sonia, you're here. Show them your jawline. Just in case they think it's Photoshop. Come on. Yeah. Stand here, like that. And you can see. This is real. I did say to her, if she upsets me, then she goes back here. Oh. So, we have to understand the mechanisms responsible. Now, this probably is the most beautiful woman I set eyes on, apart from, of course, my wife. Now, the story is very clear. You know who this lady is? Who is she? Have a look at her. Have a look at her eyes. This is my dear mother, and let me tell you something. I maintained her all of her years with no surgery, just beautiful treatment. This is her at the age of 80. Can I have, my friends, can I have the music, please? Music. Because, unfortunately, music. Music. Not coming? Don't worry. Unfortunately, lost my mother last year, and it broke my heart, absolute heart. And I don't think you ever you get over this grief. But what I'm really happy about is whatever I could do to make my mother happy, she got. She was the love of my life. She was the first. No, wrong music. No. No, forget it. You lost the moment, my friends. I had some beautiful music here, but anyway, doesn't matter. They're doing a good job, don't worry. Okay. What is the message here? The message is you treat your patients like family. If you want to do the best work, you treat your patients like family, like I did with my mother. Because we are all aging. We are all getting older. We know this. We are getting older, and it's a problem. And we know that this non-surgical aesthetics is overtaking surgery. It's more popular now. So more and more people are seeking to have this treatment. Do I have my clicker, my friend? Click. Hello? Somebody. Message. Do I have a clicker? Click. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's do the clicker. Is it working? Because I want to really do this properly. Is it on? Isn't it amazing? We can put people on the moon. We can't get a clicker to work. It's incredible. Oh, we can get a clicker to work. Okay. So we need to understand that this market, this industry is booming. And that's great from a commercial point of view. But one thing we have to remain is ethical with our patients. We have to remain ethical. We have to understand what is going on. Why are patients coming to see us? So like I said, I've been training for a long time. I've been teaching at my institute for a long time. And I see the trends. I have young people coming to me, and they want to make lots and lots of money. Let me tell you something, guys. You will make lots of money, but you've got to do it the right way. Listen to the old guy here, all right? You need to do it properly. I'm not old, she says. I like you. All right? So the point is, you've got to do it ethically. Now, what does that mean? Because I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to ask you some real hard questions about what it is to be ethical. Why are we craving for aesthetic improvement? It's the balance between health and aesthetics. Because if I'm being honest, and I travel the world, I do many, many conferences, anti-aging treatment is more focused on aesthetic treatment. But do we really talk about health? Be honest with me. How many conferences you go to for aesthetics? How many talk about health? Not enough. And my message, my mantra is very clear. Healthy people look better. It's very simple. So get your patients healthy, because already they're going to be in a better place. So you should think your primary role as a doctor is to get them healthy. And the reality is we don't, because we have at the heart of the aging process what we call the neurometabolic cascade of aging. I want you to take a picture of this slide, because this is a very important slide I put together to encompass the multifaceted scenario of aging, so that you fully understand what is going on. Mitochondrial dysfunction, oxidative stress, reactive oxidative species, DNA damage. How many of you care about DNA damage? Does anyone here care about DNA damage? Do you know it's happening? It's happening right now. And of course, you can minimize and mitigate a lot of the damage. Because if you can mitigate DNA damage, let me tell you something. You can take care of many things. Inflammation, disease, cancer. By allowing your genetic code to be expressed in the most favorable fashion. What that means is you have to have a control on epigenetics. You understand epigenetics? Very, very important. Oh, I want to ask you, How healthy are we? We're going to be friends today, so I want to ask you honestly. How many of you are feeling tired too much? Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Too often. Okay. How many of you feel stressed more than you should? Have a look around you. I want you to be honest. How many of you had poor sleep? How many of you have a poor immune system? How many of you have low libido? Nobody is going to admit to this. How many of you have inflammatory disease? Okay. How many of you have excess fat that you would like to shift? If you didn't put your hand up, I'm coming out, I'm going to feel your stomach. Okay? And how many of you have poor gut health? Yes? From time to time, do you get low mood, depression, feel a little bit low? Okay. Poor skin. Chronic pain. And how many of you reckon that you look older than you would like to? Be honest with me. Be honest. The answer actually is preventable, largely. You can play with your epigenetics. Now, many of you, you said that I look young for my age. 4 years' time, I'll be 60. Now, it's not down to my genetics. You only have to look at my sisters. I can't thank my genetics because actually research has now shown you can only thank genetics for 10 to 20% maximum for the aging process. Now, many of you might be depressed by that fact, but actually I think it's very encouraging. You know why I think it's encouraging? Because that means I have an 80% chance of fixing it, of manipulating it. And that's really exciting if we understand how. So what we're talking about is epigenetics. Epigenetics is the way your genetic code is expressed. So if you have poor lifestyle and you have too much stress, poor hormetic control, so your hormone imbalance is out of sync, mental dysfunction, mitochondrial dysfunction, you will age. So in my practice, I'm all about biohacking. I'm all about wellness as well as aesthetics. And I do jump on sometimes, from time to time, I jump on my machines. And interestingly, when you're talking about, we often say regeneration, regenerative medicine, and we talk about, biostimulation. Biostimulation is a form of epigenetics. You're adding something, either injecting or topically, to try and manipulate the situation, right? Hopefully favorably. So you're already doing epigenetics, often to the skin, mainly to the skin. But we can do a lot better than that. I want you to take this is very important slide, because many people do not understand this process. Remember, the genes or your genetics load the gun. Epigenetics pulls the trigger. Okay? So you may have a loaded gun, but you need to understand your lifestyle, your epigenetic control, very important. So if you look, if I had to pick, and I've only picked 10 of my most important tips, if you get everything on that slide correct, let me tell you something, you're going to age better than me. Think about it. You have to, at top, you have to improve and optimize your NAD+ levels. And I'll go into why that's so important. Not just for energy, for DNA repair. It's vital. Did you know, for example, your NAD+ levels are depleting by 50% by the time you hit 40? You know why? Primarily, it's because your body is under attack. Your DNA is being damaged, so your NAD plus levels are being funneled to support coenzymes known as sirtuins. There are 7 of them. And they are supporting what we call the telomeres that protect our DNA in the chromosomes. And because of that, because your NAD plus levels are being shunted in one direction, it means you feel tired, you feel fatigued. So the only way you can try to counterbalance that is through good nutrition and exercise, getting your circadian rhythms, and after the lecture, come to me. I will give you some beautiful tips how to reset your circadian rhythms very simply. Super easy. Sleep quality, sleep hygiene. You know what? Sleep is something you just do at the end of the day. You don't prioritize it, but you should. You should prioritize it like you do with exercise. Stress reduction. How many of you meditate? How many of you meditate? Look at this. You are doctors. Look at this. Less than 5%. How many of you look after your microbiome health? How many of you think about toxin avoidance? It's very important. So we understand the factors that are linking, and this is well researched. This is not even in question. This is unequivocally where we are. And if you look here at the molecular pathways, which is important for you to understand, your sirtuin levels and your PARP levels to be upregulated, and of course your AMPK levels, which I'll talk about, your mTORs, so this is now how your rapamycin levels are controlled, and your senescent cells, we call it autophagy, your zombie cells or senescent cells are removed. Very important. And when many other pathways that we have to have control over to truly understand how we're going to take this. Because the reality is, even though as society, as human beings, as human race, we are more technologically advanced than ever before. We have more money spent on technology, but isn't it crazy that we are more and more unhealthy? So we have all the knowledge, we have all the technology, yet we are actually getting worse. Don't take it from me. Look at the statistics. Cardiovascular disease, obesity is going up steadily. We are losing people a lot sooner than we should. And this is happening with our children. And you can see why the longevity market is growing year on year. This is a huge industry. It's massive. But let me tell you one thing. It's not about living longer. So you get that out of your system. It's not about living longer. It's about living longer healthy. You see? What's the point in being old and unhealthy? Nobody wants that. So the key is living longer, healthier. So how are we going to do this? Well, you saw on my neurometabolic cascade of aging, at the heart of that, I was talking about mitochondrial dysfunction. Not enough people respect this. This is key. Every single cell in your body, apart from red blood cells, contain mitochondria. And these are the these are the powerhouses of energy production. They are energy production factories. It's very simple. If your cells in your body, every single cell doesn't have the energy to perform its function, think about what that will happen overall. But think about the reverse situation. If you were to power up your mitochondria in every single cell in your body, just imagine what would happen. So this is what after this lecture, I want everyone to power up their mitochondria. You're going to ask me how to do it. Well, let's have a look. I need to power this clicker up as well because it's not, it's very slow. It's a slow one. It needs NAD+. Now, NAD is at the core of this because you will not produce any energy unless your NAD levels are there in sufficient quantity, because NAD gets turned into NAD+, which is the oxidized form, which help us produce ATP via the electron transport chain. And there, as you know, there are 4 complexes, very, very important. Basically, NAD is like a carrier of electrons. And this important process is vital, and it cannot happen without the presence of NAD. And remember, I said to you, the damage to the DNA, the telomeres, at the ends of the DNA, they become damaged. They become loose and frayed. This makes you very vulnerable to disease and inflammation. And did you know that the only way you can protect telomeres is via 2 major coenzymes? One is sirtuins, 7 of them, and the other one is PARPs. And did you know that these coenzymes cannot exist without NAD? They're done. They're finished. So this is the important connection. You need to improve your NAD levels so that you can indirectly support DNA repair. The problem is, how do we produce NAD in our bodies? We recycle it via a process called the salvage pathway. This is, for humans, this is the most common. There is a pathway via the niacin, and some of you take supplementation to try and help improve your NAD levels. Unfortunately, when you take supplementation, even NMMs, NR, whichever derivative of B3 you are taking, you will probably get about 20% bioavailability because it's being broken down by your stomach and the acids. So don't be surprised that you're not getting the results. It's because it's not the best, most efficient way of getting this NAD into your body. So when you compare oral supplementation, and you can, this is well established now, the only real way you're going to do this is you have to look at IV, not even IM or sub-Q, IV. And you will get as close to 100% bioavailability. And you can see it here on the Now, the clinical benefits I've told you: DNA repair, energy production. But the other thing, when I did my research into this, when I got into this many years ago, I realized that the problem with a lot of these NAD samples that you get in the vial for NAD contains a stabilizer called mannitol. So I did a little bit of deep diving, and I spoke to the scientists who produce this stuff. And I said, does mannitol have an effect on the uptake of NAD into the cells? And they said to me, actually it does. I said, wow. So you go to all this trouble to produce something to put in IV, and you screw it up with the stabilizer that you use. Why can you not put mannitol free? Oh, it's very difficult. It's impossible. I said, okay. But I found one manufacturer who was able to do this. And I'll be talking about that, because if you can break the bonds of the mannitol, you are now going to get close to 100% bioavailability. That's powerful. So not all NAD pluses are equal. So the company that produced it and sourced this is Serova. And one of the things, and that's one of the reasons, where's Oliver? Oliver came all the way from Germany, because I told him I'm going to be talking about this, and I would love you to see how important this is. He doesn't come from a medical background. He's coming from the science and the manufacturing side. And this is really important. If you're picking any products, GMP standards, proper certification, you need to have all the quality assurance. You don't just pick something that's been made in some country without any checks or balances. You don't even know what's inside. Now, many people say to me, what is your protocol? Professor Khanna, what is your protocol? I will give you my template. This is a summary. The key is to do it slowly. How many of you are doing NAD plus IV therapy here, by the way? Is anyone doing it here? Oliver, is anyone doing it to your patients or had it done? Not yet. Oh, this is coming to you. Oh, this is coming. Let me tell you something. The science on this is emerging, and it's very, very exciting. This is one of the things I do regularly. The only thing I do regularly is I top up my... And by the way, you can do a test. It's very simple. I would recommend you do a test to look at your NAD+ levels. You'll be shocked. They'll be on the floor. And then you can test yourself after taking the therapy, and you can see that you can consistently keep your levels where they need to be. So it's very, very important. So in my clinic, what I do to start with, I give them a very healthy shot of glutathione. Why is glutathione? Does anyone know what glutathione is? It's one of the most powerful antioxidants we have. And why do I give them glutathione? Because I also realize if you give someone too much NAD+, too soon, you will actually have a rebound effect. You will cause a lot of reactive oxidative species and free radicals, which causes harm. So what you do is you don't have mannitol, and you protect them with glutathione, and you do it slowly. Those three things, if I have to give you, are absolutely gold dust. And when you do it right, you will see a massive change in your patients. I have patients come to me with acne, and I don't put them even on antibiotics. I put them on this therapy, I get their nutrition sorted, and guess what? Wow. All these years we've been putting them on tretinoin and antibiotics because we're dealing with the outside, not the inside. The problem is in the inside. Always on the inside. So in my clinic, this is what happens. Let me tell you what happens in my clinic. Look, this is typical in my clinic. So somebody is having treatment with a RF endo. At the same time, and this is a doctor being treated, she's on an IV drip with NAD+. Now, why did I do that? Every surgery I do, my patients are on a drip. Why? Because I want to improve their recovery, their healing times. And and there will be some publications coming out in the next year or so, where I'm going to be showing you some data on this, which is really exciting. Really exciting when it comes to recovery after surgery. Many orthopedic surgeons now in Germany and the other parts in Italy are using NAD+ as part of the protocols. So I'm inviting you to open your minds. I think there's a role in aesthetics. I really believe that there's a role in aesthetics. And without going into too much detail, protocol. You have to understand the protocol. And the protocol is loading dose, consolidation, and maintenance. So this is how I do it in my practice. Most people can come every 4 to 6 weeks and have a IV therapy, and then we can put them on maintenance. The beautiful thing is, when you get somebody to maintenance level, they can take care of themselves. Because their body, like you give them a supercharge, and then the body is in a better place to take care of things. And that's a wonderful place to be. So you're not totally reliant on having this all the time. Of course, if you have access and you're clever, of course, in your practice, you'll just have this. So I will have IV therapy before coming to Morocco because I know I'm going to survive on very little sleep because of all the hospitality and a busy schedule, but it keeps me alive. And it keeps my DNA from being damaged. So hopefully when I come back in 10 years' time, I will look exactly the same. And so will you. You can take a shot of this. This is a summary that I've prepared. Protocols. Long-term maintenance is very, very important. Yes, of course, lifestyle has to be there. Take a please screenshot of some of the references that are important for this. And there's more coming. This is just a small amount of references. And it's really important when we talk about drug addiction and people that are really, really suffering from depression. There's some beautiful science to show us and data that have improved the situation. Now, I need my music to be connected to the laptop, my friend. Now, I want to give you, before I finish now, I want to get you to really understand epigenetics. Now, this piece of music, for me, is one of the most beautiful pieces of music. It was written by Sir Anthony Hopkins. And I was fortunate enough to be in this crowd when the composer, André Roux, have you heard of André Roux? He's playing, and he plays Anthony's music live. This is such a beautiful thing. And I was there. Incredible. And I want you to read above, because this is at the heart of what we're talking about. The piece of music is your genetic code. The composer and the musicians are epigenetic manipulators. If they do their job properly, the music sounds like this. If they do a bad job, you're going to be unhealthy. You get the point. And this is what epigenetics is about. It's making sure that you have control over your life and health. Genius. I mean, this guy actually produced this music. Beautiful. You get a chance, you must see. So, I want to leave you with one final message. First, you have to learn what to do, and then you got to practice to be the best. Everyone in the audience, I want you to practice what I'm going to show you later, and you'll understand the meaning of this. So, it's a very simple test. Music. Don't shut the music. There. I want you to do this. Even you, Professor Radelli, I want you to do this, my friend. Okay? I want you to practice. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So what's the point of this? The point is, in your mind, you know what to do. You know what you're supposed to do, but you can't do it. Why? Because you need to practice. You need to knowledge, and then you need to practice to be the best. Tomorrow, I'm going to treat you to a very important full-face sculpting masterclass. You better be there, guys. This is going to be something special. I've got some new tips for you, new techniques, something you've never seen before. And I like to be innovative. And, of course, you can come on my courses anytime. You can do this on face-to-face, or you can do it virtually. So you don't have to come and see me. I will give you all my protocols with videos if you want to do it virtually, and you will learn the future of longevity medicine. Because this is what's happening. When I was in Monaco, first time in Monaco after 24 years, we are now talking about this, longevity. And I think it's here to stay. I think you realize the importance of not just treating aesthetics, treating health and putting it together. This feels better, it is better. It is better. It's the best way to treat your patients. And let me tell you something, you'll have a patient for life. And that's the beautiful thing about this, guys. Now, I want to say a massive thank you from my family to yours. So as you can see, with my sons, they make me feel older. But as Sonia says, I have 4 sons. She has 4 sons. And I'm that. And there you have it. Guys, you've been amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have, I have 5 minutes, huh? I'm watching the time. Do you have any questions? Any questions from the audience? We have 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. It was really amazing, this presentation, and this is the future. Epigenetics, the genes that the thing that you say that you have a gun inside, but then you have to trigger it. And this is really the reality, smoke, alcohol, and how to sleep well. This is a very good thing. Always, also I teach my students.
You want me to give you a tip about sleeping? I'll give you a few tips. You'll love this.
I want to sleep
Okay.
7 hours, 8 hours.
How do you
In
do
a
it?
good way, no pills.
I'm
How
going to give
is
you a
it?
free tip. Okay, listen to this. In the nighttime, in the morning, when you get up, first thing, I want you to, if you have grass in your garden? It doesn't have to be grass, just not on the concrete. With no shoes, no socks, I want you to go and I want you to stand and I want you to stare in the direction of the sun. I want you to look at the sun for 30 seconds. In the direction, not directly, obviously it's difficult. Direction of sun. What you're doing is you're earthing yourself, but you're also resetting your circadian rhythms. This has been scientifically proven by Professor Huberman, David Sinclair, and many other workers, and they've shown what you're doing actually is resetting your melatonin release. So what you're doing is you're preparing for the evening to be getting the right amount of melatonin so that you have sound sleep. And if you do this regularly, you'll reset your clock. So when you go to somewhere, different time zone, and it's difficult, okay, you can reset yourself. Now, here in Morocco, it's been difficult, and I think I'd get arrested if I go in the street like this. They'll think I'm crazy. So sometimes it's not possible. But you can stare outside your window. This is number 2 option. And look, just window open, breathe, just think positive thoughts, positive manifestation. This will also control your cortisol levels. Cortisol is a killer. It's one of the most destructive things. Unfortunately, we all have it. So you can control it by meditation and just good mindfulness, positive energy, positive thinking. I'm all about this, okay? You had a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
On va donner la
Thank
parole
you.
au professeur Adélie et au docteur Vital, au docteur Bouitida. Ce sont les modérateurs de la session. Donc
Oui,
on
oui.
leur donne la parole et vous pouvez interagir.
Question. Là-bas, il y a une...
That's a question.
My
Please.
question is about NAD and some immune issues and inflammatory disease. What do you think about?
In terms of, can you do it with somebody with inflammatory
Yeah.
disease?
Yeah.
Okay, now that's a general question. I'll give you some tips on this. If somebody is really, let me add something to that, adrenal fatigue. Adrenal fatigue is, when their adrenal glands are just stopping producing adrenaline and DHEO is down on the floor. What you must do with those people is you need to prepare them slowly. You have to, and in those cases, I give them regular glutathione therapy first. You're preparing. It's a bit like saying, you have a car that you've not driven for 10 years, it's in the garage. And then one day you say, you know what, I fancy driving this car, and I'm going to drive it fast. You've got to prepare the engine, yeah? So in those cases, when they're fighting inflammatory disease, because they have high levels of inflammatory cytokines, such as interleukin-6, then you need to think about all the other lifestyle factors, cortisol levels, meditation, gut health, circadian rhythms, glutathione, antioxidant therapy first. Once you get them to a stable level, then you introduce NAD very slowly, in low dose, very slowly. You put them on, that's why I developed those protocols. You see the consolidation phase, loading phase. In those patients, you put them on a loading phase, which lasts several weeks and maybe months. Then you do it slowly. Does that make sense? Okay. How are we doing? Last question, I believe, because I don't want to hold anyone up, even though it's Moroccan timing. I can talk to you all day.
Thank you for the amazing presentation. I have just a little question. You said that we can test, we do like blood tests for
Blood
the
test.
NAD. Is it done in a regular,
No.
no.
There's special labs.
Okay.
I can give you names of these.
Please, yes.
That you have to send your sample to. You can Google it as well.
Okay.
And there's specialist labs in Switzerland and in Germany, I
Okay.
believe,
They can
that
do
I
that.
know of. They may be in Italy as well. You may have some very good labs that you can test your, yes?
We have also some tests of DNA that
And-
are very interesting. DNA is another.
DNA, oh, so we never
It's
got
another
into
thing.
so this is a set, so not NAD,
Yeah.
DNA
Yeah,
markers. So you
I
can
think
actually.
we need NAD
Yeah.
before taking the
Yeah, so well, you
the
can do
IV
both.
drops.
You can do both.
Okay.
DNA
Both.
Don't you
parameters.
think, Bob, that also DNA have a basics, like you do an electrocardiogram, I guess. No,
Yes.
you can do very easily also the test of DNA, the
Yes.
genes and so on, that gives you a basic imprinting on how to manage your age, no?
Yeah,
I
100%.
didn't do until
100%.
I have to do.
Yeah, so what we're really saying is now we're starting to look at the very factors that are at the heart of your aging. There's no point in you eating tablets, eating good food, when inside you're not really controlling from a multi-dimensional perspective. You've got to think. So DNA, as well as looking at your NAD levels, maybe if I had more time, I could talk to you about these tests. But they're very simple to perform, and it's a very good way of you understanding how healthy are you. Because actually, you can attribute, if your NAD levels are good, you generally are going to be healthy. If they're down, you're looking at a very miserable aging process. So let's think about that, guys. Hopefully, I've given you some inspiration for yourselves, and then your families, and then your friends, and of course, your patients. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
very
much, Bob.
For